just take you back to your school, because that's a very abnormal education, as in when you go to a normal school. So I remember when I went to my primary school. So what was the first school I went to that with grade 0 and grade 1 and grade 2? There was a Catholic school, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Because I remember I had to go in, I had to go into the church, I had to pray, and you came out, and then it was a really interesting experience. And that time I remember you were doing a lot of airbrushing, and you at the studio, weren't you? And we had the good old pump, and it was awesome to have the old days where you had to clean the old way, you had to wait patiently, you couldn't just have it quickly. And I was talking about this actually to a person, saying, when you did labels for the bottles, I remember you had to go buy the bottle, then you had to do like a rough tap, put a paper around the bottle, then you had to do all the color coding, and then you had to go to the printer and actually help the printer and make sure the printer was doing that. And I remember the process, it was so long, the process to get there. So then by the time you sent me to Highfell Primary, and that was in 1991, at that point, the way they were teaching art was basically, well, here's just some materials to play with, go for it, kind of thing. When you were in, and then so if I go back, so then I just sent at 5, you kind of were just asked, right, here's the project, do it. Or you're going to be inspired by this artist, you need to do the same project as them. Or I want you to draw people on the stage and come up with their dress code. So you were given the task, but you were never shown how to do it and why. And then when we got to high school from standard 6, so standard 6, you're about 14 years old. I remember signing up to the school art program, and the same thing, it was, here's a shoe, draw it. And now when you're 14, you are at an age to start learning. And then even when you go to matric, those kind of things are there. So your school was very, very different. And I would say probably 90% of the people I speak to have had my type of schooling. What I remember you telling me about your schooling. Can you just tell everybody, because it was phenomenal, about when you told me you had the history in art and all these. Can you just break it down a bit more?
Okay, so the art school that I attended is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
okay. So when I was 14 or 15, that I was in standard 9. Okay, so I mean, instead of having normal history, the history of the world, you had history of art, which was far more interesting than just normal history. And understanding, just history itself, understanding all the different buildings and why they were designed in a certain way and what influenced that design. I mean, I was just so intrigued every day. I thought, geez, that actually got me to really love history. So change of attitude, change of heart, change of everything. And then instead of having maths, we had perspective drawing, which is absolutely phenomenal. And then we obviously had, I'm just writing it down, English, and we had our 2 subjects.
You had biology as well, because you were saying like when you learned about the anatomy of the body.
Yeah, so in place of biology, we had anatomy drawing. So it was absolutely fantastic. So what I did realize is that most of the subjects that were presented to us or as part of the curriculum, we had to apply ourselves instead of just sitting there and receiving information. We had to engage in it, which is absolutely incredible. So, I mean, sitting and listening and being static, you're not engaging. So I never thought I actually had a good memory with normal school because I was bored. But this way, we had to engage in every subject. So with perspective drawing, we had to understand how to convert from 2D to 3D and then from 3D to 2D and understand, eye level and vanishing points. I was bad at maths at normal school, but with perspective drawing, I mean, I was a star. I mean, really high percentages. So, and then we had still life drawing. So, you'd have the objects in front of you, And then the tutors would explain to you the difference in positive and negative shapes, and getting you to simplify shapes first before you get into understanding light direction and different tonal values. I mean, there was such a breeze. They made it so much easier for us to cope and produce the way we did. And then you had general painting. So you had a live model standing in front of us, and same thing, you know, understand, you know, gesture and anatomy, obviously, and then how to do comparative proportional measuring and triangulation. Okay, they didn't teach much triangulation, but, you know, just basic formal rules from quite a few art academies from over the world. I'm sure that's how they managed to get some form of curriculum going. So I honestly felt, I mean, those, and then we had sculpture as well, which is absolutely amazing. So we worked with wood at different mediums and clay and wax. It was just heaven on earth, really.